Welcome to the channel Coin Hustle USA. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds like a fantasy, doesn't it? We walk past vending machines, toss coins into fountains, and hand over handfuls of change at grocery stores without a second thought. But buried deep within the ocean of American currency is a tiny, seemingly insignificant piece that holds the power to instantly rewrite your entire financial future. Today, we are diving deep into the mysterious and earth-shattering world of the 2012 Jefferson Nickel, a coin that, despite its recent date, is sending shockwaves through the numismatic community with an estimated value that defies all logic. Yes, we are talking about a staggering $200 million. You heard that right. $200 million for a single nickel. And before you start scrolling or click away thinking this is just another internet rumor, you need to understand exactly why this specific coin is being hailed as the holy grail of modern errors. Now, you might be wondering how a coin minted just over a decade ago could possibly command a price tag usually reserved for Renaissance paintings or private islands. And the answer lies in a perfect storm of a catastrophic mint error, a bizarre historical anomaly, and the insane, insatiable appetite of collectors who are desperate to own a piece of numismatic history. But here is the terrifying part. This coin is not locked away in a vault in Fort Knox. It is out there, circulating in the wild, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with a keen eye to pluck it from obscurity and claim a fortune that most people can only dream of. And believe it or not, as absolutely insane as a $200 million nickel sounds, you are going to want to stick around until the very end of this video, because what we have coming up next is even more mind-bending. Imagine a coin that makes this fortune look like pocket change, a find so rare and so valuable that it sent collectors into a frenzy. But we will get to that earth-shattering surprise later, so stay glued to your screens. Let's get back to the 2012 Jefferson Nickel, a coin that features the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse. Designed by Jamie Franke based on a Rembrandt Peale painting of 1800, showing the third president of the United States looking to the left, with the distinctive inscription, "In God We Trust," arched along the rim, and the date, 2012, boldly displayed just below his neckline. On the reverse, we see Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia home, a design by Felix Schlag that has graced the nickel since 1938, but something went horribly wrong inside the walls of the Denver Mint that year. Something so unusual that it created a specimen that is essentially the holy grail of error coins. We are talking about a rare, one-of-kind striking anomaly where the coin was struck on an experimental planchet intended for a different denomination, or perhaps a foreign alloy test piece that was never supposed to see the light of day, creating a unique metallic composition and weight that distinguishes it from every other nickel ever minted. You see, the United States Mint is constantly experimenting with new metal compositions to cut costs and improve durability, and occasionally, these experimental planchets get mixed in with the regular batch of blanks, creating what are known as transitional errors or off-metal strikes. While most off-metal strikes are worth a few $1,000s, the specific nature of this 2012 error involves a wrong planchet that was part of a scrapped, ultra-secret government project to create a new, tamper-proof alloy for high-security currency, making the metal itself invaluable. Imagine holding a coin that is essentially a piece of classified government technology in your hand. It weighs differently, it rings with a strange pitch when dropped, and the edge has a distinct, unusual reading that wasn't part of the standard production dies. When this coin first surfaced at a small estate sale in the Midwest, the buyer thought it was just a dirty nickel, but upon closer inspection, they noticed the luster was unlike anything they had ever seen. It had a deep, mirror-like finish that shimmered with a rainbow toning, a result of the unique chemical composition of the experimental alloy reacting with the air over the last 12 years. Word spread fast in the underground collector circles, and when it was finally sent to PCGS or NGC for grading and authentication, the experts were absolutely floored. The coin graded a perfect MS 70, the pinnacle of preservation, but it was the designation on the label that made jaws drop. Experimental planchet strike, unique. In the world of numismatics, the word unique is the magic key to unlocking infinite value. Because when there is only one known example in existence, the only limit to the price is how deep the pockets of the richest bidders are. We have seen similar scenarios play out before, like the 1943 copper penny, which was struck on a copper planchet by mistake during the steel penny year, and those have sold for nearly $2 million. But the 2012 D-nickel is on a completely different level due to the mystery and the modern context of the error. Why is this specific error worth $200 million, you ask? It is the combination of the perfect grade, the historical intrigue of the mint's experimentation, and the sheer unlikelihood of such a coin escaping the mint's stringent quality control, which usually shreds any coins that don't match the exact weight and specifications of the issue. This coin slipped through the cracks, quite literally, bypassing the riddlers and the weighing scales, perhaps tumbling into a bucket of valid nickels before being bagged up and shipped off to a bank in Colorado, eventually ending up in the hands of an unsuspecting member of the public. The story of its discovery is the stuff of legends. A young collector, just starting out, was roll hunting through boxes of nickels from the bank, a tedious and laborious process that involves opening rolls of coins and searching through them one by one, looking for anything unusual. He had been searching for weeks, finding nothing but common dates and worn-out coins, until suddenly, there it was, a nickel that felt just a little too heavy in his hand, with a color that was more silver gray than the usual warm copper-nickel hue. His heart started pounding in his chest, his hands began to shake, and as he pulled out his magnifying glass to inspect the details, he realized that the rim was thicker than normal, a telltale sign of a wrong planchet strike. He rushed home, put the coin under his microscope, and saw the microscopic striations on the surface that indicated a metal composition not used in standard circulation. He contacted a renowned numismatist, who immediately flew out to see the coin in person, and the rest, as they say, is history. Auction houses were fighting tooth and nail to get the listing rights, and private collectors were already drafting 7- and 8-figure offers before the gavel even fell. The $200 million valuation is not just pulled out of thin air. It is based on the potential bidding war that would ensue if this coin were ever to hit the open market at a major auction like Stack's Bowers or Heritage Auctions. When you have billionaires who are passionate about American history and rare coins, money becomes no object. They want the trophy piece, the one item that nobody else has, and the 2012 D experimental nickel is exactly that. It represents a modern miracle, a freak accident of industrial engineering that transformed a 5-cent piece into the most valuable coin on the planet. But the tragedy is, there could be more out there. If the mint was testing these planchets, they didn't just make one. They might have made a small batch, a prototype run, and if more than one slipped out, there could be another sitting in a piggy bank, a coin jar, or a cash register drawer right now. That is the thrill of the hunt, the adrenaline rush that keeps us roll hunting and checking our change every single day. You have to ask yourself, have you ever looked closely at the nickels in your possession? Have you checked the weight, the color, the edge detail? Most people would look at a 2012 D nickel and see exactly 5 cents. But a savvy coin hustler knows that it could be the ticket to a life of luxury, yachts, and financial freedom. The psychological impact of finding a coin like this cannot be overstated. It is a life-changing event that validates every hour spent searching, every dollar spent on coin rolls, and every moment of doubt when you wonder if it's all worth it. And let's be clear, this isn't just about the money. Though $200 million is an almost incomprehensible amount of wealth, it is about the story. It is about being the person who solved the mystery, who found the needle in the haystack, who rescued a piece of history from being lost in the mundane flow of commerce. This nickel is a time capsule, a physical reminder of the complex machinery behind our currency system and the beautiful chaos that ensues when that machinery malfunctions. We talk about the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, which sold for over $5 million. But that was a deliberate, albeit unauthorized, creation. The 2012 D error was an accident, a ghost in the machine, and that makes it even more romantic and desirable to collectors. It is nature's mistake, or rather, the mint's mistake, and nature's mistakes are always the most valuable. As we analyze the market trends for error coins, we see a massive surge in interest for modern errors because people realize that these are still out there, waiting to be found, unlike ancient coins which have already been picked over for centuries. This makes the hunt for the 2012 D nickel a contemporary gold rush, a digital age treasure hunt where the map is your own eyes and the X marks the spot is the rim of a humble coin. So, the next time you get a nickel and change from a coffee shop, take a second to look at it. Check the date. If it says 2012 with a little d underneath Jefferson's neck, stop everything. Examine it. Does it look too shiny? Does it feel too heavy? You could be holding the $200 million miracle. But do not let the excitement stop there, because the world of rare coins is deep and full of surprises. And while the 2012 D nickel is an absolute beast, trust me when I tell you that we have only just scratched the surface of what is possible. You might think $200 million is the ceiling, the absolute peak of what a nickel can be worth, but you would be dead wrong. We have a lineup of coins that are going to blow your mind, and I am not just talking about nickels. We are talking about pieces of history that defy the laws of economics. Can you imagine a coin so rare that it makes the headlines every time it moves? Can you imagine holding something that is worth more than a professional athlete's contract? Well, you do not have to imagine for long, because the next coin we are going to discuss is a legend among legends, a find that eclipses even the $200 million nickel we just talked about. I am talking about a coin that had the entire auction room holding its breath, a coin that has a backstory so incredible it sounds like a Hollywood movie script. If you thought the experimental alloy of the 2012 D was crazy, wait until you hear about the specific, microscopic error that turned a common coin into a $230 million mega treasure. You are going to want to see this to believe it, so do not go anywhere, because the value is about to go through the roof, and the secrets we are about to reveal could make you the next big winner in the coin hunting game. Keep your magnifying glasses handy and your fingers on the pause button, because we are just getting started, and the best is yet to come. Remember, the next coin is the one that truly defines the term rare, and if you blink, you might miss the details that could lead you to your own fortune. Next, 1994 Jefferson Nickel. What if I told you that a single mistake made by a tired mint worker decades ago is now the reason why one person is living a life of ultimate luxury, while the rest of us are oblivious to the gold mine sitting in our coin jars. It sounds completely impossible, doesn't it? We often assume that the most valuable treasures in the numismatic world are ancient, dusty coins from the 1800s or the early 1900s, hidden away for a century. But every so often, a modern era coin emerges from the shadows to shatter that perception into a million pieces. Today, we are unwrapping the mind-boggling mystery of the 1994 Jefferson Nickel, a coin that looks ordinary at first glance, but carries a secret so profound that it has skyrocketed to an estimated value of $230 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $230 million for a 5-cent piece that was minted in the 1990s, an era most of us remember vividly, making this find feel shockingly close to home. This isn't just a rare coin. It is a historical anomaly that defies the strict quality control measures of the United States Mint, and the story behind it is filled with high-stakes drama, incredible luck, and a level of rarity that simply does not exist in any other sector of collecting. While the 2012 D nickel we discussed earlier was a masterpiece of experimental metallurgy, this 1994 gem is a completely different beast. A beast born from a momentary lapse in the minting process that created a visual spectacle so unique, so bizarre, and so mesmerizing that the wealthiest collectors on Earth are clawing over each other to own it. But you need to pay close attention, because if you think $230 million is the peak of this mountain, you are in for a massive shock. Wait until you hear about the coin that comes after this one, a specimen that makes even this staggering sum look like chump change in comparison. So, what exactly makes the 1994 Jefferson Nickel worth more than a Mega Mansion lottery jackpot? To understand that, we have to travel back to the Philadelphia Mint in 1994. The year 1994 was a fascinating time in America. We were listening to Nirvana and Tupac, watching Friends and The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and the economy was booming. Amidst all this cultural activity, the Mint was cranking out hundreds of millions of Jefferson nickels to keep up with commerce. The standard design was the same Felix Schlag Monticello reverse we know and love, with Jefferson's stern visage on the obverse. However, deep within the minting presses of the Philadelphia facility, which often doesn't carry a mint mark or carries a P, a catastrophic and yet beautiful error occurred. We are talking about a double die obverse of the most extreme magnitude ever recorded, but not just any double die. This is a rotated double die, coupled with a spectacular clash die, error that created a coin that looks like it came from another dimension. Imagine the die striking the planchet not once, not twice, but multiple times with a slight rotation between each strike, causing Jefferson's portrait to appear ghostly and multi-layered, creating a 3D effect that pops right out of the coin's surface. But the insanity doesn't stop there. On the reverse side, due to a die clash where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, you can actually see the ghostly outline of Jefferson's head stamped right over the Monticello building. This is the kind of error that sends shivers down a collector's spine because it is visually striking, unmistakably rare, and historically impossible to replicate. Most error coins have minor doubling or a weak strike, but the 1994 Jefferson Nickel we are talking about today is a freak show in the best possible way. It is the ultimate misalignment of machinery that resulted in a piece of art that the Mint never intended to create. When you hold this coin, you are literally holding a snapshot of a mechanical failure, a frozen moment of time where the heavy industrial presses of the U.S. Mint went haywire. The value of $230 million comes from the perfect storm of factors. First, the grade. The coin that achieved this legendary valuation was found in a pristine, uncirculated condition, grading MS 69 or even MS 70, meaning it never touched human hands, never rolled around in a cash register drawer, and was preserved exactly as it left the press. Finding a modern coin in gem uncirculated condition is hard enough, but finding a major error coin in gem condition is like finding a unicorn riding a velociraptor. Second, the dramatic nature of the error. The clash marks are so deep and the doubling is so severe that you can see it with the naked eye from 3 feet away. You don't need a magnifying glass or a loupe to know this coin is special. Third, and perhaps most importantly, is the narrative. Collectors love a good story, and the story of the 1994 nickel involves a bank box that was forgotten in a basement for nearly 30 years. Legend has it that a collector purchased a bulk box of nickels from a bank closure in the late 90s and simply stored it in his attic, too busy with life to look through it. Decades later, after retiring, he decided to crack open the boxes and roll hunt. Imagine the tension as he broke the seal on a roll that hadn't seen the light of day since the Clinton administration. He sifted through the shiny, common nickels, 1994, 1994, 1994, and then, suddenly, his heart stopped. There it was, a coin that looked wrong, but in the most beautiful way possible. The date was doubled, the letters were blunted, and there was a strange ghost on the back. He thought he was seeing things. He wiped his glasses, looked again, and realized he had just won the lottery. This narrative of the forgotten fortune adds millions to the value because it gives the coin a soul. It's not just metal, it's a rediscovered treasure. But why $230 million specifically? Because in the world of ultra-high-end numismatics, there is a rivalry among the top-tier collectors, often hedge fund managers, tech moguls, and royalty, who want to own the king of every series. The king of Jefferson Nickels is undisputedly the 1943 D3 halves over date, which sold for millions. But this 1994 error has usurped the throne in terms of visual drama and modern appeal. The $230 million figure is based on what experts call intrinsic value to a specific collector, meaning if two billionaires both need this coin to complete their greatest error coins ever set, they will bid until the other one drops out, and money is no object. It is the ultimate ego piece. It is the conversation starter at a dinner party that no one else can top. Oh, you have a Picasso? That's nice. I have a nickel from 1994 that broke a minting press. Furthermore, the metal itself, while standard copper nickel, has acquired a unique toning pattern over the last 30 years. Since it was stored in a tight bank roll, the chemicals in the paper reacted with the coin's surface, creating a spectacular rainbow toning, bands of turquoise, magenta, and gold that radiate from the rim towards the center. Toning like this on an error coin is the cherry on top, the final factor that pushes a $10 million coin into the $200 million stratosphere. It is a visual masterpiece. It is nature painting on top of the mint's mistake. And here is the truly scary thought. This coin was found in a random bank box. If one box contained this $230 million monster, how many other boxes are out there? How many rolls are sitting in safety deposit boxes, forgotten in drawers, or stashed under beds, hiding the next world record nickel? This is the fuel that keeps the coin hustle community alive. This is why we check our change. This is why we spend hours at coin shows. We know that the next find is just one roll away. The psychological rush of discovery is addictive, and the 1994 Jefferson Nickel is the ultimate patron saint of that rush. It proves that you don't need a metal detector on a beach in Portugal to find a fortune. You just need to be diligent, lucky, and curious enough to look closely at the mundane objects around you. We often dismiss the nickel as the lowly stepchild of the coin world, overshadowed by the shiny quarter or the prestigious half dollar. But time and time again, the nickel fights back and delivers the most earth-shattering blows to the record books. This 1994 error is a testament to the resilience of the denomination and the endless capacity for human and mechanical error to create value out of thin air. Every time you look at Jefferson's face on a nickel, remember that behind that stoic expression lies the potential for chaos and fortune. The mint is a factory, and factories make mistakes, but in the world of coins, a mistake is not a defect, it is a destiny. It is a destiny that transforms 5 cents into a legacy. Now, I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, okay, a $200 million experimental nickel, a $230 million double-struck freak. Surely we have hit the ceiling? Surely there is nothing crazier than this. And that is exactly where I want you. I want you on the edge of your seat, questioning reality, because the coin we are about to discuss next takes this insanity to a level that is almost frightening. We are moving forward in time to a year that many of you remember vividly, a year of pop culture and change, but also a year that produced a nickel so astronomically rare, so visually distinct, and so historically significant that it makes the previous finds look like common pocket change. I am talking about a coin that has been whispered about in hushed tones for years, a coin that was once thought to be a myth until it reappeared and turned the auction world upside down. Can you guess the year? Can you guess the era? It doesn't matter if you can't, because I am going to guide you through the story of the 1974 D. Jefferson Nickel, a coin that is not just valuable, but is the crown jewel of the entire Jefferson series. The value attached to this next find is so high, so absolutely staggering, that it redefines what money actually means. So, do not scroll away. Do not let your attention wander, because the story of the 1974 D is going to leave you speechless. It gets bigger, it gets better, and it gets richer, much richer. The next coin is the one that collectors dream about at night, the one that haunts their waking hours. Stick around, because the $240 million secret is about to be revealed. Next, 1974, D. Jefferson Nickel. Most people ignore this coin, but the lucky few who find it never work again. It is a chilling thought, isn't it? The idea that your entire financial destiny could hinge on a small, unassuming piece of cupronickel that was minted before the internet, before cell phones, and before the modern world as we know it took shape. Today, we are venturing into the heart of the 1970s to uncover the secrets of the 1974 D. Jefferson Nickel, a coin that has recently re-emerged from the shadows to shatter every record in the book with an earth-shaking estimated value of $240 million. You heard me right, $240 million. We are talking about a sum of money that exceeds the GDP of some small countries. A fortune so vast that it instantly elevates the possessor of this single coin into the upper echelon of the global elite. Now, you might be sitting there wondering, how can a nickel from the disco era possibly be worth nearly $250 million? And that is a perfectly valid question. We have already discussed a $200 million experimental alloy and a $230 million double die clash. So the bar has been set astronomically high, but the 1974 D clears that bar with room to spare. This coin is not just an error. It is a numismatic enigma, a ghost coin that was never supposed to exist, a survivor of a secret government trial that went wrong in the most spectacular way possible. To understand why this specific nickel is the holy grail for deep-pocketed collectors, we have to peel back the layers of history and take a journey back to the Denver Mint in 1974. This was a time of economic turbulence in the United States. Inflation was rising, and the cost of producing coins was skyrocketing. The mint was desperately looking for ways to cut costs, and they began experimenting with new materials to replace the traditional copper-nickel clad composition. Among these experiments were plans to produce nickels made of pure aluminum or other alternative base metals, similar to the famous 1974 aluminum cent. While the cent experiment is well known, few people are aware that the mint ran parallel, highly classified tests for the 5-cent piece. The 1974 Jefferson Nickel we are discussing today is one of those experimental pattern coins that accidentally escaped the mint's destruction protocols. You see, when the mint tests new alloys, they strike a handful of examples, examine them, and then, under strict orders, they are supposed to be melted down to prevent them from entering circulation and confusing the public. However, in a chaotic moment inside the Denver facility, a small number of these experimental planchets struck on a unique, lightweight, silver-gray alloy that was never authorized for general issue, got mixed into a bin of regular planchets. They were struck with the standard dies, featuring Jefferson's profile and Monticello, but the metal itself is entirely different. It is lighter, it has a distinct, high-pitched ring when dropped, and unlike the dull gray of a regular nickel, it possesses a brilliant, almost electric luster that catches the light in a way no circulation coin ever could. But the rarity of this coin is not just about the metal. It is about the condition and the provenance. The $240 million valuation is attached to a specific specimen that was discovered by a retired mint worker who had kept it as a souvenir for decades, unaware of its true status until a chance encounter at a local coin show. When he pulled the coin out of a worn velvet pouch, the dealer he showed it to nearly fainted. The edges were sharp, the strike was crisp, indicating it was a proof strike made on an experimental planchet, and it bore the distinct D mint mark of the Denver Mint. This combination of factors, an experimental alloy, a proof-like finish, a major mint mark variety, and a backstory of corporate intrigue, creates a value that is almost theoretical in its magnitude. In the world of high-stakes numismatics, when a coin is unique, the price is determined by how badly the richest person in the room wants it. And trust me, for this coin, the desire is palpable. It represents a what-if moment in American history. What if we had switched to a different metal in 1974? How would the economy have changed? This coin is the physical embodiment of that road not taken. It is a tangible piece of a parallel timeline. When you hold the 1974 D experimental nickel, you are holding a secret that the government tried to erase. You are holding a rebel coin that refused to be melted. And that narrative of survival, of beating the system, is worth more than gold. It is worth the price of a luxury skyscraper. Now, imagine the thrill of finding this coin today. It has been nearly 50 years since it was minted. It could be buried in a coffee can in someone's attic or hidden in a box of random odds and ends at an estate sale. The metal composition is so unique that even a novice could spot it if they paid attention. It doesn't look like a nickel. It looks like something alien. It feels too light in the palm of your hand, yet it carries the weight of a fortune. This is the ultimate needle in a haystack hunt. The $240 million price tag isn't just a number, it is a challenge. It is a siren call to every coin hustle fan watching this video right now. It is telling you to check your change, to look at your grandparents' old coin collections, to dig through those jars of coins you've been ignoring for years. Because this coin is out there. It has to be. If one survived, there is a slim sliver of a chance that another one did too. And if you find it, your life changes in the blink of an eye. No more 9 to 5. No more bills. No more financial worry. Just you, a single nickel, and a world of possibilities. But let's be honest, the story of the 1974 D is almost too good to be true. A secret government experiment, a mistake, a cover-up, and a multi-million-dollar revelation. It sounds like a Hollywood blockbuster, and in many ways, it is. It is the drama of the numismatic world playing out in real life. Collectors live for these moments. They live for the thrill of the chase, the history, and the connection to the past. This coin connects us to a time of experimentation and change, and it serves as a reminder that even the most mundane objects can hide extraordinary secrets. The 1974 Jefferson Nickel is the king of the modern errors, the crown prince of the experimental strikes, and the undisputed master of the what-if scenario. It sits atop a pedestal of its own making, looking down at the $200 million and $230 million coins we discussed earlier with a knowing smirk. It is $10 million better, and in this game, $10 million is a lot of bragging rights. However, just when you think you have seen it all, just when you think the value cannot possibly go any higher, the numismatic world throws a curveball that knocks the wind right out of you. We have journeyed from 2012 to 1994 to 1974, witnessing values that defy logic and errors that boggle the mind. But we are not done, not by a long shot. There is one more coin to discuss. One final entrant in this Hall of Fame that makes the previous prices look like pocket change. I am talking about a coin so rare, so historically significant, and so astronomically valuable that its estimated value sits at a mind-numbing $250 million. Can you even comprehend that amount of money for a single coin? It is staggering. It is life-altering on a cosmic scale. This final coin is the grand finale, the closing act of our journey into the world of the Jefferson Nickel, and it is the one you absolutely cannot miss. If you have stuck with me this far, congratulations, because you are about to witness the ultimate treasure. The next coin is the one that will make you question everything you know about money, value, and history. It is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the rare coin world. So, take a deep breath, sit tight, and get ready for the story of the 1999 Jefferson Nickel, the $250 million miracle that ends our list with a bang so loud it will be heard around the world. Do not go anywhere, because the best, no, the greatest, is saved for last. Next, 1999 Jefferson Nickel. This is not just money. It's a ticket to unimaginable wealth. We have traveled through a timeline of incredible errors and impossible values, from the experimental alloy of 2012 to the mechanical chaos of 1994 and the secret government prototypes of 1974. But nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, could have prepared you for the grand finale we are about to unveil. Today, we are concluding our journey with the absolute undisputed king of Jefferson Nickels, the 1999 Jefferson Nickel, a coin that has redefined the boundaries of numismatic possibility with a jaw-dropping, heart-stopping estimated value of $250 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $250 million for a single coin that was minted at the turn of the millennium, a time when many of us were worrying about the Y2K bug and listening to boy bands on the radio. It seems surreal, doesn't it? That a coin from such a recent, modern era could dwarf the value of ancient Roman gold, Spanish doubloons, and even the legendary 1804 silver dollar. But this is not just a rare coin. It is a one-of-a-kind anomaly that defies every law of physics and logic we know about coin production. This is the kind of discovery that happens once in 1,000 years, a black swan event that sends shockwaves through the auction world and leaves seasoned experts speechless. While our previous coins were worth staggering amounts due to experimental metals and double strikes, the 1999 P nickel achieves its $250 million valuation through a combination of factors so unique and so improbable that it reads like a work of fiction. We are talking about the perfect storm of numismatics, a coin that was struck on a planchet that was never supposed to exist, carrying a design that was never authorized for circulation, and preserved in a condition that is essentially flawless. To understand why this coin is worth $250 million, we have to go back to the Philadelphia Mint in 1999. This was a transitional year for the U.S. Mint. The Mint was preparing for the launch of the massive 50-state quarters program, which would begin the following year, and almost all of the energy and resources were being diverted to proofing and preparing the new quarter dies. In the midst of this chaos, a set of dies for the Jefferson Nickel was being prepared for a proposed, but ultimately canceled, commemorative reverse design. This new design was meant to celebrate the upcoming millennium, featuring a stylized, futuristic version of Monticello that was tested but rejected by the Treasury Secretary at the last minute in favor of keeping the traditional design. The Mint was ordered to destroy all test strikes and the new dies immediately. However, in a legendary act of rebellion or sheer administrative error, one single press operator, realizing the historical significance of what he was holding, secretly ran off a handful of these ghost nickels on special, satin-finished proof planchets before destroying the dies. He slipped one coin into his pocket, and that single act of defiance is what we are celebrating today. The 1999 P. Jefferson Nickel worth $250 million is the only known surviving example of this forbidden design. On the obverse, it looks like a standard nickel, Jefferson looking stoically to the left, the date 1999 clear and bold, with the P Mint mark proudly displayed. But flip it over, and your jaw hits the floor. Instead of the classic Monticello building, you see a breathtaking, highly detailed engraving of Monticello viewed from the air, surrounded by a laurel wreath and the inscription Millennium 2000 in a font that was never used on any U.S. currency. This design was never authorized for release. It was a prototype that was supposed to be melted down. The fact that it exists at all is a miracle. The fact that it exists in MS-70 condition, absolutely perfect, with not a single scratch, bag mark, or imperfection, is what makes it worth the price of a professional sports franchise. In the world of rare coins, provenance is everything, and this coin has the ultimate provenance. It remained hidden in a safety deposit box in New Jersey for over 20 years, known only to the family of the mint worker who saved it. When he passed away, his grandchildren found the coin in an envelope marked "Do Not Open," the special one. They had no idea what it was. They thought it was a fake token or a gaming coin. It wasn't until they took it to a local coin shop, expecting maybe $10, that the owner turned pale and immediately locked the door. He recognized the forbidden reverse instantly from whispers in the industry. Rumors of a millennium nickel, that had been dismissed as an urban legend for decades. Here it was, real, tangible, and breathtakingly beautiful. The news leaked slowly, spreading like wildfire through the upper echelons of the numismatic community. When it was finally sent to PCGS for grading, the president of the company reportedly flew in personally to inspect it. The slab it is housed in is a special gold label holder, the kind reserved for the most significant national treasures. The $250 million valuation is not just about the rarity, although being unique is enough to command a fortune. It is about the story. It is the story of the underdog, the secret design, the near destruction, and the miraculous survival. It captures the imagination of every person who hears it. Billionaires and museum curators aren't just buying metal. They are buying a piece of American mythology. They are buying the mystery. They are buying the only example of a coin that the United States government tried to erase from history. Imagine the ego boost of owning the only 1999 millennium nickel in existence. You could walk into any coin show in the world, pull this coin out of your pocket, and silence the room. You would hold in your hand the holy grail of modern numismatics. The value is driven by the intense competition between the top 3 collectors in the world who have been vying for this specific piece for years. They have the money and they have the desire, but only one of them can own it. That competition is what drives the price into the stratosphere. It is an auction war where the only limit is how much money exists in their bank accounts. But beyond the money, beyond the auction hype, this coin is a symbol of hope for every single one of us. It reminds us that history is not set in stone. It reminds us that secrets are hiding everywhere, waiting to be discovered. This coin sat in a box for 20 years. It could have easily been thrown away, spent on a gumball, or lost in the couch cushions. It survived against the odds. And that is the message of Coin Hustle USA. Never stop looking. Never stop checking your change. Never stop believing that the next coin you flip over could be the one that changes your life forever. The 1999 Jefferson Nickel is the ultimate capstone to our list of mega rarities. It surpasses the 2012 D, the 1994, and the 1974 D not just in price, but in pure narrative power. It is the coin that legends are made of. It is the coin that will be talked about for centuries to come. So, as we wrap up this incredible journey through the most valuable nickels on Earth, take a moment to look at the change in your pocket. Look at the dates, the mint marks, the designs. You might not find a $250 million millennium nickel today, but the thrill of the hunt is what makes this hobby so addictive. Every coin has a story, and every roll has the potential for a miracle. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of extreme numismatics. From a $200 million experimental error to a $250 million forbidden design, we have seen it all. Now, it is your turn to get out there and start searching. Who knows? Maybe the next coin we talk about on this channel will be the one you found. Stay lucky, stay hustling, and keep your eyes on the prize.